The ticket printer starts screaming before I clock in. White slips spit like warnings, curl on steel, ink bleeding. 6 top, 3 foie, 2 scallops, 1 chef's tasting, fire in 12. Someone kills the printer with a slap. The kitchen settles into that tight, bright silence that means panic has teeth. 90 minutes to first seating, barks Marco, the Sioux. Clarke, station garde-manger. If you fail tonight, you're out. My name lands like a stamp. Clarke. Not Madison. Not Kid. I nod once because anything more will shake. My hands already hum, a restless voltage racing up my forearms. Le Jardin is smaller than television makes it look. At street level, it's glass and fern and a chandelier that looks like someone froze rain mid-fall. Back here, it's fluorescent and stainless and heat. The air tastes like vinegar and lemon oil, like shallot ghosts and singed butter. We move around one another in a choreography learned by bruises. Pivot, slip, set down, up, behind, hot. Clarke, Marco says again, appearing at my shoulder as I lay out porcelain like bones. 5 amuse ready to plate on my call. Scallop crudo, citrus pearls, basil oil, no tears. His gaze dips to my hands. You shake, you ruin the line. I don't shake, even as my fingers tremble for one treacherous second. He leans in, voice low. Castelli won't give second chances. Understand? I understand. Every rent bill, every overdue notice, every night my mother in Hudson texted, "You ate, right?" They all understand with me. She scraped and saved to send me to school because I wouldn't stop inventing. Cookies with rosemary and sea salt at 10, tomato water Bloody Marys at 15, an apples and cheddar tart that made the neighbor cry at 16. She believed before anyone else did. I line the spoons, inhale once, let the breath settle my arms. The walk-in door thumps. Someone laughs too loud. The kitchen cook curses in Italian, beautiful and vicious. A pan flares, a brief bloom of blue fire, then the steady hiss of business. And then the kitchen pressure drops like the room inhaled. He's here. Adrian Castelli moves through his own kitchen like gravity has rules for him no one else gets. High whites, sleeves rolled, dark hair shoved carelessly back, a knife in his hand like an afterthought that could end a war. He doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't need to. Every head turns toward him, even as bodies keep moving. I pretend mine doesn't. He steps to the pass, eyes cutting across the line with a surgeon's economy. Buonasera. A hum of response returns to him. He flicks a glance at Marco. We're clean? We're tight. New hires on guard. I feel his attention before I earn it. He looks at me the way a weather front looks at a coastline. Impersonal, assessing, inevitable. My spine straightens on instinct. Clarke, he says, and my name loses its vowels, becomes a blade. Show me. Not words I expected. Not, go home. Not, don't wreck my night. Show me. It snaps something into place inside my chest. I set the scallops, cold, shining, thin as coin, down into their porcelain cradles. Spoon on citrus pearls that quiver like caviar. Dot basil oil in a line the color of something alive. Zest floats down like confetti, one bright breath of summer that only I can smell in this storm. He watches like time owes him interest. Marco hovers, ready to catch me when I fall. I don't. The spoons line up clean and even and, God, right. Adrian takes one, lifts it, eats. The entire kitchen leans invisibly toward that single small motion. He doesn't react for a full 3 heartbeats. Then his gaze lifts, lands on mine, holds. Again, he says. Not praise, a verdict that includes trust. The printer shrieks. Someone yells, "Fire 2 steaks, mid-rare." The room surges around us like a river that forgot how to be gentle. I move. My body remembers what my brain can't afford to narrate. Knife, lime, basil, pinch of Maldon at the very last second. I plate 5 more. 10. A dozen. The spoons disappear, reappear, get wiped, replaced, refilled. My station becomes a metronome. Steady, exact, almost musical. Clarke, calls pastry, shoving a tray into my elbow space. Make way. Behind, I warn, sliding aside without losing the garnish. The amused shimmer on their way to the dining room, a fleet of tiny ships sailing into a sea of money and cameras. Hold, says Adrian. His hand lands over mine, not heavy, not soft, stopping my next dot of oil midair. Heat shoots through me so sudden I freeze. Look, he's pointing to the basil bottle. The nozzle has a smear. Sloppy. I grip my teeth. Won't happen again. It just did, he says. Not cruel, precise. I swap the bottle, clean the lip, reset. He releases my wrist. Where his fingers were, my skin prickles as if the nerve endings learned a new language. Fire, table 12, amuse, Marco calls. We fall back into motion. Time breaks into measurable units. This many seconds per plate, per wipe, per breath. The countdown is constant. 2 minutes to the first 6 top, 4 minutes until the foie, 9 until the tasting moves. I can feel the room learning me the way muscles learn a new weight. Wary, testing, surprised I don't drop it. Somewhere between spoons 9 and 19, a salad dies. Somewhere at the pass, a server returns with an untouched plate and a note that says, guest allergic to citrus. Someone's gonna cry later. Not now. Now, no one bleeds where anyone can see. I hear little pieces of Adrian's voice as he ghosts from station to station. Not color, caramel. Listen to the pan. You blanch to respect the vegetable, not to apologize for it. If you have time to complain, you have time to sear. He stops at my station exactly twice. Once to set down a towel without looking at me. Once to say, pearls are a hair heavy. Let the scallops speak. I adjust. He moves on. The room orbits his certainty. 30 to first fire mains. We're smooth people or we fake it beautiful.
I'm refilling basil when I feel him return, the air around me tightening like thread. He sets a small saucer on my board. On it, 2 paper-thin slices of raw scallop, a whisper of salt, a single dot of oil. My garnish, stripped bare. Why did you do it that way? Adrian asks. My mouth dries. Bright against the creaminess, I say. Acid to wake it up. Basil because it likes being invited to summer. His mouth almost curves. Words are cheap in here, Clarke. Taste is currency. He slides the saucer closer. I pick up the slice, it melts on my tongue. Even without pearls, the citrus hums, ghosted in by zest. The basil, restrained, sings clean. He cut the garnish by half and somehow made it louder. I swallow, heat rising to my face. Understood. He nods, as if I've passed an exam only he knew existed. Then, quieter, just for me, don't chase perfection, chase clarity. I don't get to ask what that means. The printer declares a war. Marco shouts for hands, pans scream. The room becomes the roar that happens when the ocean changes its mind. I move through it, measure inside the chaos. The lesson sits in my chest like a compass. We're halfway through the first seating when the twist hits like a blade sliding under skin. I'm wiping the edge of a plate when Marco says to Adrian, casual as a bomb, "You want me to keep an eye on your scholarship project, Chef?" Adrian's gaze flickers to me and back. She doesn't need a chaperone. I miss the plate edge by a breath. Smear basil where it doesn't belong. Wipe it off before anyone sees. Scholarship? The word ricochets through my ribs. Marco grins at me, wicked and almost kind. He didn't tell you. Castelli reads every application. He picked yours. The room keeps moving. My world doesn't. What? The whisper scrapes out of me. Adrian doesn't look at me when he answers. You have 4 minutes to prep 6 more amuse, Clarke. Use them. Use them. Not an apology, not an explanation, a fact. A choice already made hours, weeks ago, when I thought I'd slipped in on luck and a barely tolerated resume. He chose me. He watched my tape, read my essays, saw my messy, hungry, Hudson-bred heart, and brought me here anyway. The countdown in my head recalibrates. It's no longer, if you fail, you're out. It's, he believed first. Now, don't make him regret it. I pick up the bottle, my hand doesn't shake. The basil lands clean and bright. The pearls shine like small, stubborn stars. The spoons line up, even and sure. Service, I call, voice steady. Adrian's head turns at the sound. Only for a second. Only enough to prove he heard me. Then he faces the pass and sends my plates into a room that devours reputations. If I fail tonight, I'm out. But if I hold, if I keep choosing clarity over fear, if I let the work speak louder than the noise, I might just belong.
The ticket machine doesn't stop screaming. By the second hour, the paper curls across the counter like snakes, and my apron is streaked with oil and lime zest. My back sticks to my jacket. My pulse matches the line's rhythm, sharp, relentless, unmerciful. "Clarke, 6 amuse, 2 minutes," Marco calls. "Yes, chef." My voice cracks but holds. My fingers fly, slice, pearl, oil, zest. A dance of repetition. My station isn't neat anymore. It's a war zone. But the plates still look like elegance, and for now, that's enough. "Move!" shouts Pastry, barreling past with a tray of molten chocolate. "Behind," I mutter, sliding sideways, my basil oil steady. My mother's voice ghosts in my head. "Don't flinch, Mads. If you flinch, you cut your hand, not the carrot." The door to the dining room swings open. Heat and perfume mingle with the steel air. A server barrels in, panic in his voice. "Table 6, wrong order. They wanted oysters, not scallops." Marco swears, spins. "Who fired scallops?" Every head swivels. My stomach drops. The scallops, my scallops, sit untouched on a tray gleaming under the lights. Adrian's voice cuts through the noise, low and sharp. "Clarke, did you read the ticket?" Yes, chef. It was scallops on 6. My chest burns. I know I read it right. Marco snatches the ticket, frowns, holds it up. "It says oysters." The kitchen stills. Heat crawls up my neck. My first night, and already the whisper is alive. She's gone. Adrian takes the ticket from Marco, eye scanning. He doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't need to. The silence bends toward him like metal to a magnet. "The ticket was misfired," he says at last. His gaze slices toward the server, who pales. "Clarke read it right. She's not the mistake tonight." The air exhales. The server mumbles apologies and bolts. The line snaps back into motion, but my hands can't move yet. I stare at him, disbelief coiled tight in my chest. He defended me? Then he looks at me, eyes dark as espresso. "Don't let my faith be wasted, Clarke." The words hit harder than any insult could have. My throat knots. I nod, sharper than I mean to, and force my hands to move again. "Fire oysters, table 6, Marco barks. I pivot, switch gears, set the plates. My movements sharpen, urgency coursing like electricity. Adrian didn't just protect me, he wagered on me in front of everyone. And if I fail now, I won't just ruin myself. I'll make him a liar. The printer coughs again, relentless. The sizzle of meat, the hiss of butter, the clang of pans all slam into one pounding symphony. My hands move faster, steadier. I hear Marco call times, I hear servers curse, I hear Pastry begging for fridge space. But underneath all that noise is one steady drumbeat. Don't waste his faith. Don't waste his faith. "Clarke," Adrian's voice, again, close enough that I feel the air shift.
He leans just behind me, his shadow spilling across my board. Your scallops thin, slice thicker. One bite should be enough to silence a critic. I swallow, nod, adjust the knife. The next scallop sols exactly the way he said. Clean, confident. For the first time all night, my hands stop shaking. By midnight, my apron is ruined, my arms ache, and my hair clings to my skin. But the board is clear. The line slows, the last plate sails out. Marco claps a hand on my shoulder, brief, gruff. Not bad, rookie. You survived. Survived. Barely. My whole body trembles with exhaustion. But when I look up, I catch Adrian watching me from across the pass. No smirk, no glare, just a nod, subtle as a secret. And it feels like more than survival. It feels like an invitation.
By the time the second night begins, my body already aches in anticipation. The bruises on my forearms bloom purple where hot pans kissed me yesterday. But I wear them like medals. Surviving one service at Les Jardins means nothing. Surviving two might mean everything. The line hums with low conversation, knives tapping, pans heating like they're waking up with us. Marco rattles times. Servers float in and out like ghosts carrying demands. The printer spits, the rhythm starts again. I anchor myself at garde-manger, stacking plates, prepping citrus pearls, keeping the basil oil spotless this time. Adrian stalks the perimeter of the kitchen like a general. He doesn't yell, he doesn't need to. His silence bends the room. "Clarke!" His voice slices from across the pass. "Yes, chef." My hands don't stop moving. "Scallop crudo, 10 plates, 6 minutes." "Yes, chef." I set to work. Slice, dot, pearl. My breathing locks to the motion. 6 minutes. 5. 4. The plates line up like soldiers. I'm almost proud when I slide them across the pass. Adrian doesn't even glance at them. He wipes a fingertip across one plate, holds it up. Basil oil smears across his skin. Again. His voice is cool steel. Heat punches into my cheeks. "Chef, the garnish." "Again," he repeats, sharper now, so the entire kitchen hears it. His gaze pins me like I'm the only mistake in the room. The hum dies. Even Marco doesn't breathe. I grab the plates back, redo them faster, tighter, cleaner, no smudges, perfect lines. This time when I slide them forward, Adrian inspects every detail. He doesn't nod. He doesn't thank me. He simply turns to Marco. "Fire mains, table 7. The kitchen exhales. Anger spikes my chest, hot and reckless. He humiliated me for a dot of oil. He could have wiped it himself. But no, he made me redo everything in front of the team. I can't stop myself. You know, chef, perfection is easy when you never touch the plates yourself. The words hang like smoke over an open flame. Marco's eyes widen. Pastry freezes nud-whip. Adrian turns slowly, as if he can't believe I dared. His voice drops, low enough to vibrate the steel counters. "Repeat that, Clarke." My pulse hammers. Every survival instinct tells me to back down, to apologize, to beg. Instead, I hear my mother's voice in my head. "Don't flinch, Mads." I meet his gaze. I said it's easy to demand perfection when you're not the one plating. For a heartbeat, the world holds its breath. Then Adrian takes 2 steps toward me, stopping close enough that the heat of his body drowns out the ovens. "You think I don't plate? You think I don't bleed in this kitchen? I've bled more for this restaurant than you've worked in your entire life." The room buzzes with nervous energy. Every cook pretends to focus on their board, but ears are tilted our way. I whisper back, throat tight, but steady. Then stop treating us like pawns. I didn't come here to be erased. The silence that follows feels endless. My chest aches with the certainty that I've ruined everything. Tonight I'll be fired. Tonight I'll crawl back to Hudson a failure. But Adrian doesn't fire me. His jaw flexes. His eyes burn. Then slowly he straightens, turning back to the pass. Clarke stays. For now. For now lands like both a sentence and a reprieve. He dismissed me, but he didn't destroy me. And the strangest thing is, I see the faintest flicker of something else in his gaze. Not just anger, recognition. The clash has left me raw, shaking, furious, but also alive. Because for the first time, Adrian Castelli truly saw me. By the time service ends, my body is wrecked. My hands are red from citrus acid, my legs ache from hours of standing, and my brain hums with phantom ticket calls. The others peel off one by one, muttering about after-shift beers or collapsing into bed. I scrub my station twice, wipe it again just to prove to myself I still have control, then finally untie my apron. The locker room is a dim, tiled cave. I sink onto the bench, phone in hand, and stare at the screen until it lights. Mom's name glows there. I should sleep. I should let her think I'm too busy to call, but her voice is an anchor, and tonight I need it. I press the button. Madison? She answers on the second ring, voice groggy but warm. Honey, it's past midnight. Sorry, Mom, did I wake you? There's a pause, then a soft laugh. You think I sleep through the night anymore? These bones creak louder than the floorboards. I picture her sitting in our kitchen back in Hudson, wooden chair, chipped mug of chamomile, the hum of the fridge. The whole house smells like lavender sachets she tucks into every drawer. For a moment, I'm 10 again, perched at the counter, waiting for her to taste whatever concoction I'd whipped up that day. How was it? Your first night? I swallow. Words jam in my throat. Terrifying, exhilarating, brutal. He saw me. He almost destroyed me. He defended me. I don't know what to do with any of it. Instead, I say, it was hard, but I made it through. I never doubted you, not once. Something in me cracks. You should have. Don't say that. Mom, you emptied your savings for culinary school. You worked double shifts at the plant. And what if I blow it here? What if I'm not enough? The line goes quiet. Then she sighs, soft but firm. Madison Clarke. From the moment you baked that apple and cheddar tart for the church fair, I knew you'd find your way to a kitchen like this. You've always had a gift. I just gave it room to grow. My chest tightens. I can still see it. Me at 16, flour on my shirt, slicing apples too thin but stubbornly layering them with cheese because it would work. I knew it would. She stood beside me, watching, smiling, proud even before anyone tasted it. You didn't just give it room, I whisper. You gave me everything. And you'll give it back by cooking like you belong there, she says, matter of fact. That's all the repayment I need. Tears sting my eyes. I blink hard, staring at the cold tile. It doesn't feel like I belong yet. Of course it doesn't. You're still proving it to yourself. But hear me, Mads. No kitchen, no man, no critic decides your worth. You've carried Hudson with you into Manhattan, and that's stronger than any Michelin star. Her words sink deep. Hudson, our creaky porch swing, the cinnamon in the bakery air, The tart apples from the farmer's stand, the flavors that made me. I tuck them into my chest like armor. I love you, Mom. My voice is thick. I love you more. Now get some rest before you fall into the soup tomorrow. We laugh, and when the call ends, the locker room feels less hollow. I set the phone down and lean against the wall. My reflection stares back from a dented locker, eyes tired, jaw tight, shoulders squared. I think of Adrian's voice tonight, sharp and merciless. Again. Of the heat in his gaze when I snapped back. Of the strange flicker I swore I saw. Recognition, not just judgment. Belonging here might take more than skill. It might take holding my ground, even against him. But tomorrow, when the printer screams and the kitchen swallows me whole, I'll carry Hudson with me. The lavender, the apples, the stubborn girl who baked a tart that shouldn't have worked, but did. That's who I am. And no matter what Adrian Castelli throws at me, I won't let her be erased.
By 7:30, the dining room is full, and the printer has learned a new language. Shriek, spit, breathe, repeat. My station is a bright island in a storm. Bowls of shaved ice, squeezed limes bleeding their perfume, microbasils shivering under the AC vent that never quite reaches me. I've laid out spoons like a tiny army. Tonight, I need them to hold. 2 6-tops down, 1 8-top walking, Marco calls. Clarke, I want 24 amuse and 5. Oui, chef. My mouth is dry, my hands are not. Knife, scallop, pearl, oil, zest. The motion has a metronome. I fit myself to it and try not to think. A server shoulders through the swing door with a tray held like a mirror to chaos. Wine laughter floats in from the dining room and pops against the steel. The fish station hisses. Pastry curses the fridge. The grill flares, a quick blue roar, then settles into its quiet rage. I reach for the squeeze bottle of basil oil, test a dot on parchment, and my stomach drops. The oil is splitting. Streaks of dark and water like a fight that went too far. It'll bleed into the porcelain and smear under spoon edges, a mess. On my station, mess is a sin. Marco, I say low, basil's broken. He doesn't look up. Fix it while you plate. I swallow. Plate and rescue simultaneously. I grab a chilled metal bowl, throw in new oil and the emerald puree, whisk with my left while my right lays scallops so thin the light holds them up to itself. Whisking one-handed is a prayer. The emotion lurches, separates, hesitates, then catches. Green becomes one clean voice again. Clarke, Marco barks. How long? 2 minutes. Make it 1. The printer shrieked like it hurt him. Spoons down, pearls on, oil dotted. Steady, steady. Zest snowing. The first 12 line up like I meant it. I slide them to the pass. Adrian appears without warning, a shadow that the lights deferred to. He takes a spoon, doesn't eat. He turns it under the heat lamps, hunting for flaws I haven't figured out how to hide. The pearls, he says, quiet. They look swollen. They're fresh, I say, defensive before I can stop it. Batch I said an hour ago. His thumb presses one. It slumps. The gel has gone soft. A little too warm from the lamps. A little too long on my side of the pass. Tiny failures that add up to humiliation.
He lifts his eyes. They'll bleed on the plate in 2 minutes. Then give me 1 minute, I say, pulse in my throat. I'll fix it. Fix what's already plated? Marco asks, incredulous. No, I shove the tray back to my board. New garnish. I've got finger limes. Marco snorts. We have 3. You need 2 dozen. I'll stretch them. I slice the limes along the seam, rake out the translucent pearls with a tiny spoon, toss them with micro-diced lemon supreme and a breath of simple syrup so they won't collapse under salt. Not spherification, not showy science, just citrus with its spine straight. Adrian watches me work without a word. It's worse than shouting. 30 seconds, Marco warns. I build fast. New pearls glisten like they might sing. Dot of stabilized basil oil, thank God it held. Zest. Wipe. Up. 12 plates. Then 12 more. My board is a crime scene of lime rind and pride. Adrian picks up a spoon and eats. The kitchen holds still, one collective clavicle lifted, not yet allowed to fall. He chews once, twice. His gaze flicks to mine. Go, he says, and this time the word contains something like heat. The first tray sails. Servers vanish with our reputation held at shoulder height. I don't realize I've been holding my breath until my chest burns. Clarke, Marco says, and there's something like respect in the way he says my name. You just saved 10 minutes I didn't have. I nod without looking at him. My hands are shaking now, late to the party. I flatten them on steel and swallow it down. We fall back into the rhythm, but it's a different song, a little sharper, a little louder. Word comes back that the citrus is popping. One guest asked what those little gems were. I tack the compliment where I keep the other reasons to stay. Then the room swerves. The walk-in alarm starts to bleat, a thin, insistent sound that means the compressor is flirting with failure. Pastry swears, dairy sweats, Marco sprints, vanishes behind the heavy door, barks for ice, for pans, for triage. The line wobbles. Lose the walk-in, and we're a gorgeous machine with no pulse. Adrian steps into the middle of the line and everything reorders around his body. We're not dying tonight, he says, voice calm as an ocean that knows where it puts its waves. Marco, rotate pastry into the lowboy. Grill, stagger fires. No long cooks until I say, Clarke? Yes, chef. Move all scallop to the ice well. You lose temp, you pull. No heroics. His eyes lock on mine, pinning me to the present. Clarity, understand? Clarity. The word from the first night. I nod and my hands find their work. Ice up, trays down, thermometer in, numbers in my head like a rosary I actually believe in. 36 degrees Fahrenheit, 36 degrees Fahrenheit, 37 degrees Fahrenheit. Chef, I call, these need to come off. Do it, he says, without looking. He trusts me in front of everyone, and my chest does something foolish behind my ribs. We pivot. I swap in campacci I've been hoarding for staff meal, slice it into gleaming fans, keep the rest buried in ice like treasure. Change on amuse, I call to the pass. Campacci crudo, same garnish. A server starts to object. Adrian doesn't let him. Chef's choice, he says, and that's the end of it. The grill flares, someone yanks a pan too hard, a lace of oil kisses the burner, kisses air, becomes flame, a bright, hungry tongue. The cook jerks back, the fire reaches where fire shouldn't. For a second, the entire kitchen inhales the way a crowd does before a wreck. Adrian is already there, lid on, heat cut, a wet towel strangling the oxygen. The flare dies with a shuddering hiss. He turns, very close, too close, and his forearm brushes mine as he hands the pan off. My skin lights up like someone struck a match inside my wrist. You good? He asks, already moving. I'm fine, I say, though my heart is sprinting circles around my throat. He shifts a plate on the pass, fixes a smear with a swipe so fast it looks like sleight of hand. Clarke, yes, chef. Don't let the garnish carry the dish. It's there to amplify, not apologize. Understood, I say, and mean it. The alarm quiets. Marco reappears with a sheen of sweat like a confession and a thumbs up that says the compressor found its courage. The room recalibrates. Servers start to laugh again. Grill sings lower, calmer. Pastry stops muttering curses at God. My station breathes. The campacci plates look like they belong here. My hands remember their job without shaking. When I glance up, Adrian is watching me from the pass.
Not inspecting, not waiting to pounce, just taking in the fact that the line didn't break where I stood.
The last of the 8 tops amuse flies. I catch a reflection of myself in the chrome, a woman with oil on her sleeve and a small, dangerous smile. "Service, table 12 mains," Marco says, voice hoarse. "Service," the line answers, a choir made of burn scars and stubbornness. We make it through the crush by inches. By the time the dining room thins and the printer falls silent, my legs feel like borrowed furniture, and my head hums with the engine I've been inside all night. Marco claps my shoulder as he passes. "Good call on the finger limes," he says, "and the ice wall. You held the wall." I nod, throat tight. I'm wiping my board for the 3rd time when Adrian comes to a stop opposite me. No one else notices he's there. The last of the team is dragging trash or counting spoons. Up close, he smells like heat and citrus and something dark, like coffee after midnight. He sets a cleaned spoon on the pass between us, a little ritual of truce. The Campacci shouldn't have worked. It did. It was that or serve warm scallop and pray. His mouth curves just a ghost of a smile. We don't pray in this kitchen. No, chef. My lips tip traitorously. We improvise. His gaze lingers a beat longer than it should. Lightning without thunder. Don't mistake improvisation for luck. I won't. He nods once. Go home. Eat something that isn't acid and pride. I mean to say, yes, chef, and let him leave. Instead, traitorous honesty slips between my ribs and out of my mouth. You believed me, I say quiet. About the pearls, about the temp. You didn't have to. He studies me like I'm a plate he can't decide to send or redo. I believed what I tasted, and I believed the thermometer in your hand. A breath. Don't make me regret either. Heat crawls up my neck. I won't. He turns, steps away, then glances back. Clarke. Chef? That garnish. Use the finger limes again tomorrow, but cut the syrup. Let the acid speak. I nod, and he's gone, absorbed by his kitchen the way clouds absorb the moon. When I finally strip my apron, my hands are still electric. The brink didn't eat me. I looked over it, counted, and kept moving. Somewhere between the broken oil and the dying walk-in, I learned what I came here for. Not perfection, but clarity. And God help me, the way he said my name, calm in the fire, won't stop ringing in my head all the way home.
The kitchen is quiet in a way I've never heard it before. No printers screaming, no pans flaring, just the hum of the fridge and the drip, drip, drip of a mop bucket down the hall. Everyone else has gone, their laughter trailing out the back door toward bars and cabs and whatever normal life looks like after midnight. I stayed. I told myself I needed to scrub my station again, double-check my prep, sharpen my knives. Truth, I couldn't make my feet leave. I'm bent over the counter, cloth in hand, when the door swings open. Heavy footsteps, measured, sure. I don't need to look up to know who it is. Clarke. His voice is low, a little rough. Chef. I straighten, cloth still in my fist like a weapon I don't know how to use. He surveys the room, the gleam of the counters, the way I've stacked the spoons in perfect towers. You're still here. I didn't want to leave a mess. One brow lifts. Your station's been spotless for an hour. Caught. I set the cloth down and fold my arms to keep from fidgeting. Old habits. He steps closer, the distance between us shrinking until I can smell him. Citrus and smoke, heat layered into fabric. He's still in his whites, sleeves pushed up, forearms nicked with faint scars. Evidence of battles fought with steel and fire. You think staying late will prove something, he says. My throat tightens. Isn't that the point? Prove you didn't make a mistake hiring me? His gaze sharpens, pins me in place.
I don't hire mistakes." The words land like a stone dropped in water, ripples expanding through my chest, disrupting every excuse I've built to explain away why I'm here. I look down, blink hard, because if I meet his eyes too long, I might drown in them. "You drive yourself like the kitchen will spit you out if you blink," he says quietly. "You don't need to." "Yes, I do," I whisper before I can stop myself. "You don't understand what it costs to get here." His silence stretches, and for a heartbeat, I think he'll walk away. Then he leans against the counter opposite mine, arms folded, days finally slipping from sharp to something else. "I do understand," he says, "more than you think." I glance up. "You?" He exhales, long and slow, like he's debating whether to peel back a layer he's kept sealed. "When I was 23, I thought I'd made it. Paris, stars, a partner I trusted." His jaw tightens. One mistake, one knife left in the wrong hand, I lost a restaurant, a reputation, a friend. The room stills. I can almost hear his heartbeat under the words. "That's why you're so hard on us," I say softly. His eyes flick to mine, a shadow of surprise there. "It's why I don't waste second chances." Silence folds around us, heavy but not suffocating. I see it now. The cracks in the armor, the man under the myth. He's not made of stone. He's scarred, stitched together, still bleeding under all that control. I take a step closer before I think better of it. My hand brushes the counter near his, not touching, but close enough that the air warms between us. "You don't have to carry it alone," I murmur. For one impossible second, his gaze softens. Something unspoken arcs in the space between us, charged and fragile. My breath catches, and I swear his does too. Then he straightens, mask snapping back into place. He pushes off the counter, putting distance between us with military precision. "This kitchen doesn't run on confessions, Clarke," he says, voice flat again. "It runs on discipline. Don't confuse the two." The words sting more than they should. I nod, throat thick, pretending it doesn't matter. He heads for the door, pauses with his hand on the frame. "Get some sleep. Tomorrow won't wait for you." And then he's gone, leaving me in the echo of a truth he almost gave me, and the ache of a moment we almost had. I pressed my palms flat to the counter, chest heaving. He's right. Tomorrow won't wait. But tonight I know this much. Adrian Castelli isn't untouchable. He bleeds, he remembers. And the armor he wears so ruthlessly, it's already beginning to crack. By the third week, my hands don't tremble anymore. The rhythm of the kitchen has burned itself into my veins. The ticket machine shrieks, I answer. The pans hiss, I move. The line tightens, I hold. But tonight, I want more than survival. The service is steady, almost calm by Le Jardin's standards. My station gleams, my plates sing. I've done what Adrian asked, clarity over perfection, and it's paid off. For the first time, there's room in my head for an idea. When Marco calls a lull, I move. I grab a small plate, a slice of kampaki, a drizzle of yuzu I snuck in from the Asian market downtown, micro shisho, a thin brush of smoked salt. It's simple, bold, alive. Hudson meets Manhattan in a single bite. My heart is hammering by the time I slide it onto the pass. "Clarke," Marco warns, glancing over, "what's this?" "Something I want Chef to taste." The kitchen tilts with silence as Adrian approaches. He looks at the plate like it's a crime scene. "This isn't on the menu." "No," I admit, "it's mine." A muscle works in his jaw. He picks up the fork, cuts the fish, tastes. The room waits. My body is a wire stretched to breaking. Finally, he sets the fork down. Not balanced. The words slam into me. Heat climbs my throat. It is balanced. The yuzu cuts the fat. The shisho lifts it. It's clean. His eyes narrow. It's loud. You don't shout at the fish. You listen. Anger sparks. Or maybe you're so obsessed with silence, you've forgotten what a voice sounds like. The line freezes. Marco mutters something in Italian that might be a prayer.
Adrian steps closer, close enough that the heat of him presses against me more than the stove ever could. His voice drops, sharp as a knife's edge. Careful, Clarke. My pulse thrums. If you didn't want me to have ideas, you shouldn't have hired me. The silence is electric, the kind that waits to see if it will turn into a kiss or a fight. His gaze flicks to my mouth, so quick I almost think I imagined it. Then he steps back, shaking his head. You want to be heard? Earn it. He slides the plate off the pass straight into the trash. Until then, you cook my menu. My chest burns. Fury, humiliation, defiance, they all blur together until I can barely breathe. I want to scream, I want to cry, I want to shove him against the counter and make him taste what he just threw away. Instead, I grip my knife so tight my knuckles ache. Yes, chef. Service surges back, swallowing the moment. My hands move on instinct, plating, wiping, garnishing. But every time I glance at the pass, Adrian is already watching me, like he's waiting to see if I'll break or if I'll come back sharper. By the time the last ticket dies, my body is wrecked. But under the exhaustion, something fierce hums. He didn't just dismiss me, he challenged me. And I don't know what scares me more, how much I want to prove him wrong, or how badly I want to make him taste me again. The whispers start before service even begins. Pierce is on the book tonight. Anthony Pierce, billionaire, Manhattan legend, the man the tabloids say owns half the skyline. His name buzzes through the kitchen like static. Every server fidgets with their ties. Marco snaps orders faster, sharper. Even the air feels thinner. By 6, paparazzi lights are already flashing outside. By 7, the dining room is crawling with cameras pretending not to be cameras. By 7:30, Adrian calls the entire line into a circle. You've heard the rumors, he says, voice clipped, eyes harder than I've ever seen. They're true. Pierce is here. He didn't come for food. He came for spectacle. We will give him flawless execution, not theater. If you can't handle that, walk now. No one moves. My heart slams. Service begins. The printer screams like a possessed thing. 10 oysters, 6 foie, 12 scallops. The dining room roars with moneyed laughter. I plate like I'm possessed myself, knife moving in a blur, pearls glistening, oil dotted with surgical precision. Then it happens. Clarke! Marco barks, shoving a tray at me. Table 12 amused, sent back. My stomach plummets. Sent back? In Le Jardin, that's not a mistake, it's a scar. Why? I demand, voice shaking. Marco thrusts the note toward me. Too timid. Timid? My dish? My garnish? My hands? The ground tilts. Adrian appears, plucking the note from Marco. He scans it once, then turns to me. You have 90 seconds. What? My voice cracks. 90 seconds to fix it. Make it sing, Clarke, or we bleed. Everything narrows. My hands, the scallops, the limes. I ditch the pearls, slice the scallop thicker, bolder, smear a whisper of chili oil for heat, scatter finger lime gems for acid, a single basil leaf to crown. Bright, sharp, fearless. 75 seconds, 60. I slide the plate onto the pass. My chest is a drum. Adrian takes one, tastes. His eyes close. For half a second, I think I've killed him. Then they open. Send it. The tray disappears. The room exhales. Minutes later, word returns from the floor. Pierce loved it. He called it electric. He asked who made it. The line buzzes. Marco smirks at me, muttering, looks like the rookie has teeth. But it's Adrian's gaze I feel burning across the kitchen.
Not smirking, not mocking, watching me, like I've just rewritten a law he thought was carved in stone. Hours later, when the dining room empties and the staff drifts out in clumps, I stay again. I can't leave, not when my blood still thrums from the risk I took, from the way he looked at me after. The kitchen is dim, only the past lights left glowing. I'm stacking spoons when I hear his footsteps. Clarke? I turn. He's closer than I expected. Shirt sleeves rolled, collar loose. His eyes catch the light like tempered glass. You saved this restaurant tonight. His voice is lower, almost rough. Pierce doesn't praise lightly. Heat floods my chest. You gave me the chance, 90 seconds. You earned them. His gaze holds mine too long. You made me believe in something I don't believe in anymore. I swallow hard. What's that? His lips curve. Not a smile, not quite. Second chances. Silence stretches, thick as cream. His eyes drop to my mouth. My breath hitches. The air between us hums with something wild and reckless. He steps closer, close enough that his arm brushes mine, close enough that if either of us leaned an inch, the space would collapse. My pulse riots, my hands ache to touch him, to know if the heat I feel from here would burn. His breath grazes my cheek, warm, steady. He tilts his head just slightly. The door slams open. Chef! A server stumbles in, flushed. Table Pierce is asking for you. Says he wants to congratulate the kitchen personally. The moment shatters. Adrian pulls back, mask snapping on so fast it almost hurts to watch. His voice is calm, steady, the man in armor again. Tell him I'll be right there. The server bolts. I stand frozen, breath jagged, every nerve still tuned to the almost. Adrian's gaze lingers on me one last second, storm and restraint tangled in his eyes, before he turns and walks out, shoulders squared, leaving me alone in the glow of the past lights. My lips still tingle with the kiss that almost happened. And my heart knows, next time, it might not stop. The morning after Pierce's dinner, the kitchen feels different, lighter, buzzing. Word has spread. Photos of him leaving Le Jardin are already splashed across every gossip site. His quote about the electric scallop plastered under headlines. The staff rides the high like champagne bubbles. Everyone except me. Because every time I close my eyes, I feel Adrian's breath against my skin. The heat of him, the almost we didn't have. My lips ache with the ghost of it. I'm setting up my station when I sense him. His presence is impossible to miss. Sharp edges wrapped in silence. He moves with precision, sleeves rolled, hair damp from a too early shower. He doesn't look at me, doesn't nod, doesn't acknowledge the thing that almost happened in the empty kitchen. When the team gathers for lineup, Marco cracks a joke about Pierce coming back every week now. Laughter ripples, but Adrian doesn't smile. His voice cuts through the noise like a blade. Last night was a success because we did our jobs. Nothing more. His gaze sweeps the room, then lands squarely on me. We are not here to play savior or artist. We are here to execute. Discipline, precision, consistency. If you forget that, you don't belong in this kitchen. The words hit like a slap, cold, deliberate. He's not talking to the team, he's talking to me. My throat tightens. I clench my hands around a towel until it bites into my palm. After lineup, I catch him near the pass. Chef, I say, low. Can we talk? His eyes flick to mine, unreadable. There's nothing to talk about. Yes, there is. Last night was a mistake. His voice is sharp, quiet enough that no one else hears, but sharp enough to cut. Whatever you thought happened between us, forget it. It won't happen again. My chest hollows. So that's it? You pull me close 1 second and shove me away the next? His jaw tightens. This is a kitchen, Clarke. Not a confession booth, not a playground. You want to work here, focus. Leave everything else outside. The words lodge like glass in my throat. You think I can just turn it off? His eyes flash, just for an instant. Pain, maybe, or regret. Then it's gone. He straightens, his voice flat. You will, or you won't last. He turns, already moving away, already sealing the cracks I glimpsed in him just nights ago. The wall slams down between us, tall and merciless. I stand there, pulse thundering, throat burning with words I can't say. Because the truth is, I don't want to last here without him seeing me, without the chance of that spark again. But if I push, if I fight, I could lose everything. This job, my dream, the future my mother sacrificed for. So I bite it back. I swallow the ache. I tie on my apron and return to my station, pretending my heart isn't bleeding under the weight of his wall. But all night, every time I feel his presence behind me, I know one thing for sure. The harder he pushes me away, the closer I want to step.
The night the critic walks in, the air changes. I don't see him at first. I hear him. A server whispers his name like a prayer and a curse, and suddenly every spine in the kitchen stiffens. Marco mutters a swear under his breath. Pastry goes pale. The maitre d' glides past the line, voice tight. Table 12, don't miss, not tonight. We all know who he is. A ghost in human form. His reviews have sunk restaurants bigger than ours, stripped stars from legends. He doesn't just eat, he dissects, writes in blood, and leaves reputations on the floor. Adrian's presence sharpens to something nearly unbearable. His voice slices the air with military precision. Table 12 coursing, perfect timing, no excuses. Everyone clear? Yes, chef. A chorus. My voice cracks, but holds. The first courses fly. Clean, sharp, flawless. But when the mains start lining up, disaster finds its opening. The walk-in compressor hiccups again. A tray of lamb comes up 10 degrees too warm. The grill station panics, rushing, oversearing one chop, under-resting another. The garnish is seconds behind. Adrian's fury is silent, worse than shouting. Then Marco shouts, "Clarke, check the scallops." I whirl. The scallops, my station, my pride, are sweating. The ice is melting too fast, the flesh turning translucent at the edges. They won't survive another 5 minutes. Off, I say, already pulling them. My chest squeezes. We can't send these. Marco rounds on me. Then what the hell are we sending? Silence crashes over the line. Everyone turns. Adrian's gaze is thunder, fixed on me. Clarke? Answer. My pulse is a war drum. I could play it safe. Substitute, cover, pray. But Mom's voice flashes through me. Hudson is your strength, not your weakness. I grab a tray of kampachi, the scraps I've been saving for staff meal. We pivot, I say, loud enough for the whole line. Hudson style. Marco blinks. Hudson what?
I move before doubt can catch me. Thin slices, fanned like petals. A quick cure in salt and sugar, barely a minute, just enough to set the flesh. A brush of apple reduction, tart, sharp, pulled from the bottles I tucked into my kit like contraband. Micro shiso, lemon zest. It smells like my childhood kitchen, like the orchard in September, like the tart I baked at 16 while Mom watched me with pride. I plate fast, heart racing. Chef, I say, sliding the dish onto the pass. Kampachi with Hudson apple. Adrian steps forward. He doesn't touch it at first. He just looks at me, at the plate, at the audacity. The silence stretches, unbearable. Then, slowly, he takes a bite. The kitchen holds its breath. His eyes close once, twice, then he opens them again, gaze locked on mine. "Send it," he says. The servers sprint. Minutes drag. Every sound feels too loud. I can't breathe until the Maître d' appears at the pass, face unreadable. "The critic loved it," he says simply. "Called it unexpected, alive, memorable." The kitchen erupts in relief. Marco slaps my back, pastry whoops, even Grill lets out a laugh. But I don't move. I can't, because Adrian is still watching me, his face caught between pride and something rawer, something unguarded. Then he does the unthinkable. He steps forward, turns toward the servers, and announces for all to hear, "This dish was created by Madison Clarke. Tonight, Le Jardin belongs to her." The words hit me harder than any kiss could have. My name, not his. My dish, not hidden under his banner. My mother's apples, my Hudson roots, standing on the stage of Manhattan. Applause ripples through the staff, but my chest is too tight to join them. My eyes sting. Because in that moment, Adrian Castelli didn't just save the service. He gave me something I didn't think I'd ever have. My place. And God help me, it makes me want him more than ever. The dining room is a galaxy of glassware and candlelight, still buzzing from the critic's presence. Servers glide like constellations, their trays heavy with praise. My body hums with exhaustion, but adrenaline keeps me rooted, unable to look away from the pass. Adrian hasn't moved in minutes. He stands at the center of it all, arms folded, gaze fixed on nothing, like he's listening to something only he can hear. Then, the maitre d' hurries in, breathless. Press is outside. They know the critic was here. They want a statement. Every head swivels to Adrian. His jaw tightens. He hates press. Everyone knows it. He built Les Jardins on food, not spectacle. But tonight the air is thick with expectation. He glances at me. Just once. Long enough to make my stomach flip. When he steps into the dining room, the staff trails behind like shadows. I follow too, though I shouldn't. Cameras flash the moment he appears. Questions fly like knives. "Chef Castelli, what was the critic's reaction? Chef Castelli, is it true you've reinvented your menu?" Adrian raises a hand. Silence falls, heavy and waiting. "The critic ordered scallops," he says, his voice carrying like a steady flame. But tonight, Les Jardins gave him something new, something unforgettable. The room leans closer. He doesn't look at me, but every word feels carved for my ears. He continues. "That dish was not mine. It was created by Madison Clarke, our youngest cook, the one who saved this kitchen tonight." The cameras explode. Shouts fill the room. My name ripples through the crowd like a stone thrown into water. I freeze. My chest tightens. He didn't have to say it. He could have taken the credit, hidden me in the shadows, made it another Castelli triumph. But instead, he handed me the light. For a moment, I can't breathe. "Chef," one reporter pressed, "do you mean to say Les Jardins is no longer just your vision?" Adrian doesn't hesitate. His gaze sweeps the room, steady and unflinching. "Les Jardins has never been about one man. Tonight proved it. Talent belongs where it's earned. Clarke earned it." A murmur spreads. Marco grips my shoulder hard enough to ground me. Pastry grins like a proud sibling. But all I can see is Adrian, his armor, his silence, his merciless walls. He's just broken them in front of the world for me. The press swarms, but I slip away before they can catch me. My hands are shaking. My heart is raw. In the hallway, I lean against the wall, trying to steady my breath. The noise from the dining room echoes down the corridor. My name, shouted by strangers, still doesn't feel real. Footsteps approach. I don't need to look up. It's him. Clarke. His voice is softer now, stripped of the steel he wears in the kitchen. I swallow. You didn't have to do that. Yes, he says simply. I did. I finally lift my gaze. His eyes are darker than I've ever seen them, fierce and vulnerable at all once. You gave me everything, I whisper. No, he corrects, stepping closer. You took it. All I did was tell the truth. The air between us hums. His words land in the center of my chest, breaking something open. For weeks, I've fought for a place here, for recognition, for his respect. Tonight, he gave me all three. But what he doesn't realize, what I can't say out loud, is that it isn't just the kitchen I want. It's him. And after tonight, I don't think I can pretend otherwise.
The city glitters like it's holding its breath. Manhattan at midnight, windows lit like constellations, taxis streaking yellow through the dark, the hum of traffic far below. I step out onto the rooftop of Les Jardins and let the night air cool the fire still burning in my chest. I shouldn't be here. I should be home, asleep, dreaming of apple orchards and the girl I used to be. But instead, I'm standing above the restaurant that nearly broke me, and tonight, finally, made me whole. The door creaks, footsteps follow. My pulse stumbles, then races because I know it's him before I turn. Adrian. He moves toward me, sleeves rolled, collar open, looking less like the untouchable chef and more like a man, flawed, tired, devastatingly human. For a moment, neither of us speaks. The city fills the silence for us. You disappeared after service, he says quietly. I needed air. I force a laugh, brittle, and maybe a moment where 100 cameras aren't shouting my name. His mouth tilts. You earned that spotlight. I shake my head. You gave it to me. No. He steps closer, steady. You forced me to see what I'd been too afraid to look at. I search his face, the cracks I've glimpsed before now wide enough to let light through. Afraid of what? Losing control. Of my kitchen, of my life, of myself. His gaze burns into mine. Adrian. He swallows, jaw tight. I told myself I couldn't want this, that wanting you would ruin everything. But tonight, his voice breaks like glass. Tonight, I realized it would ruin me not to. The world tilts. My heart pounds so hard I can feel it in my fingertips. I step forward. He doesn't move away this time. My hand brushes his chest, just above his heartbeat, steady and wild at once. You're not the only one who's been afraid, I whisper. But I can't hide it anymore either. His eyes close for a moment, as if my words hurt and heal him at once. When they open, they're full of something I've never seen from him before. Surrender. He lowers his forehead to mine, breath warm against my lips. Tell me I'm not making a mistake. You're not. My voice trembles, certain. We're not. And then his mouth finds mine. The kisses everything our almosts weren't, hungry, certain, unstoppable. His hands frame my face, mine fist in his shirt, and the city spins away until there's only this, fire and salt and the taste of something we've both starved for too long. When we finally break, gasping, he presses his forehead to mine again. You saved me tonight, Madison. Not just the restaurant, me. Tears sting my eyes. You don't need saving. His thumb brushes my cheek, gentle now. Maybe not, but I need you. The words unravel me. My chest feels wide open, fragile, alive. Below us, Manhattan hums on, indifferent to the fact that in one corner of its skyline, a woman from Hudson and a man in armor finally found each other in the fire.
I smiled through my tears, voice barely more than a whisper. Then it looks like we both found what we were looking for. His lips find mine again, softer this time, a promise instead of a battle. And for the first time since I walked into Le Jardin, I know I'm exactly where I belong.